Welcome back. It's Ricky Ransom and Ralph. He's chilling. He's chilling, dude. He's just chilling. Don't even worry about it. Today, we dive back in. We're doing another build. I've been working on this Druid for a little while, but I really wanted to focus in this last week and really get it polished up. It's interesting because this build is, it's similar to like the Storm Slide, which is one of the meta builds for the Druid, but there are a couple little differences. And one thing that I noticed when I first was playing this build is it was kind of squishy. Didn't seem like the damage was good enough to really compete. So I started messing around with it, and then I found some inspiration through a different build called the StagStorm build. And I've kind of just messed with it a little bit. It's pretty similar overall, but I think that this is the best version of the build that I've played so far, and I'm really enjoying it a ton. And don't tell anyone, this build might be better than my Frozen Orb build. Don't. I didn't say it out loud. You didn't hear me say that, okay? I love my waifu, sorceress. She's still my number one. But this build, there's something about it. The way that the play style about it, it's just, yeah, it's nasty. So first things first, you want to take Maul, and then you want to take Enhanced Maul. This is really important. Some of the other builds are going to tell you to take Claw. Can't take Claw with this build because we're not using the Mjolnir's ring. So you need to be able to have Maul, and you want to have it on your actual skill bar as well, so that you're transforming into a bear, because that's the only way that we're getting that werebear shift. And we get damage every time we shift between werebear and human and werewolf. So that's important. Keep that in mind. Next, you want to put 1 point into Heart of the Wild so that you can go up to Wild Impulses and put 3 points into here. You're going to put 5 points into Lightning Storm. This is super important. This is where a lot of your damage is coming from. So you put all 5 points, max that out, go into Enhanced Lightning Storm, and then Raging Lightning Storm. Next, we're going into Landslide. You only need 1 point into Landslide and 1 point into Enhanced Landslide. This is the way that procs a lot of your skills to happen and your damage, but it's not the main thing that's creating the damage. I don't really know how to explain it, so it's not important. You don't have to like max this out. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that. Next, you come down here and you're going to do Earthen Bulwark. Earthen Bulwark. Yeah. And then we put 1 point into Enhanced Earthen Bulwark. That's such a funny word, dude. Oh my gosh, I can't. I'm sorry. Next, we're going into Cyclone Armor. You only need 1 point into this, but it is helpful to keep you alive in a lot of different situations. So it is nice because you get that 16.4% non-physical damage reduction. So it's pretty clutch. Next, we're going into Blood Howl. Put 1 point into Blood Howl, 1 point into Enhanced, and 1 point into Preserving Blood Howl. And then over here on your passives, you're going to put 1 point into Ancestral Fortitude and then 3 points into Vigilance, because that helps with damage reduction and keeping you alive. So that's also very, very nice. Next, we come down here. You're going to put 3 points into Nature's Reach, and that's the only one for your companion skills. Then you come down to Wrath skills, and you're going to put 3 points into Elemental Exposure, 1 point into Charged Atmosphere, 1 point into Bad Omen, and 3 points into Electric Shock. So remember all those. This is all lightning damage. It's going to help a lot with your just overall damage. It's great. Over here, we're going to go down to Crushing Earth. You put 1 point in here and 1 point into Safeguard, and then 3 points into Stone Guard for some more survivability, Fortify, all of that good stuff. It's great for us. Then you come down here and we hit Neurotoxin, and then 3 points into Envenom. Envenom is actually really useful, so that this is nice to have. And the way that we're going to be proccing the poison is through our Paragon board. But the Paragon board, I don't like going over that in the video. I think it's kind of boring, takes up way too much time. So the Paragon board and the build guide will be down below in the description. There will also be more of a casual build guide if you don't have all of your mythics yet and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I recommend checking it out, especially so you get all that Paragon info. And it's easier to kind of just copy things, like instead of pausing a video here or there. I get it. Whatever you prefer, but I'm gonna have the build guide linked down below as well. Next, we go down into our ultimate skills and we hit Petrify for 1 point, Prime Petrify, and Supreme Petrify. This is another variation of the Storm Slide where typically you'd be using the Cataclysm. We don't use Cataclysm with this build. Petrify does a lot for us. It's helping with crowd control. It increases the amount of damage you do. It's a really strong ability. So I recommend using the Petrify. Cataclysm looks better and it seems like it's gonna help you more, but this is better, trust me. Next, we go into our passives over here and we put, what is that, 2 points in Defiance? Or 1 point? 2 points. 2 points in Defiance. Okay, 2 points into Defiance, 3 points into Natural Disaster. Awesome. Down here, we go to Quick Shift and we're putting all 3 points. We're maxing out Quick Shift. And for Heightened Senses, we only put 1 point into this. And that just helps increase some of our movement speed and our damage reduction when we shapeshift, which is nice. Help us stay alive. Because like I said, I tried this build before. It was a little squishy. Switching some of these things around has made it so it will take a lot to kill you, especially if you have it built the way that I'm showing you here. And then last but not least, our passive, our key passive is Nature's Fury. And that's gonna be super clutch too. This is like, it's dipping into multiple damage pools. So you're getting like, technically it might be bugged. Hopefully they don't fix it because this is great. Don't listen to us. Don't listen to anything. Nothing happened. It's great. It's working perfectly fine the way it's supposed to work.
Don't be suspicious. 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 Don't be suspicious.
But it's like double or triple dipping in damage. It's crazy. Okay. Next, we're gonna go to our gear and we're gonna start off with the helm. If you look at this is where you'll see the major differences between this build and the typical Storm Slide build you see. First, Andariel's Visage, super important. Mainly because we're getting life on hit, which is gonna help us stay alive, and then attack speed, which is also great. Oh yeah, and on this build, okay, so I forget that thing I said before about the Paragon board. I might just cut it out because we get our poison damage from Andariel's now. We don't even, that helps us so that we can actually put more Paragon points and get better damage and a different legendary node that we don't have to waste on that other board. So that's good. We're getting our poison damage from this, and attack speed is super important. You want to hit all 3 masterworkings on attack speed if possible. My gear isn't perfectly masterwork. Sue me, I tried. I keep spending absurd amounts of Neth Iron, and I want to do 1 build for every class before the end of the season. So that's why we're doing these videos. 1 build, every class. The masterworkings aren't going to be perfect. I'm trying my best because, it gets expensive when you're doing this.
Trying to find some money for the family.
There's always money in a banana stand.
We don't have the money, Pop.
There's always money in the banana stand.
But if you have anywhere close to what I have, it'll work. So you want to hit all 3 on damage reduction. Actually, with this one, you can hit all 3 on damage reduction. If you hit all 3, awesome. Otherwise, I would say get 2 on damage reduction and then 1 on max resistance versus the resistance to all elements like you see on mine. But yeah, try to hit all 3 on damage reduction. It's always great. The more damage reduction you have, the more you'll stay alive. Next, this is a super important item for this build. You're gonna need Unsung Ascetic Wraps to really make this build work. Ascetic Wraps and Wild Heart Hunger and Earthbreaker. These all 3 of like the class specific uniques are pretty essential to make this build function the way it needs to function. But with the Ascetic Wraps, you want to get all 3 onto Lightning Storm. Yeah, and then you want to get GAs on whatever you can get GAs on. Obviously, if you can get GA on Lightning Storm, that's awesome, but it's also nice to have GA on Critical Strike chance just so you can get closer to that 100% Critical Strike chance. Next, you go to your legs. Your legs are interesting because you just really are trying to focus on willpower. I know I have the 2 rolls into Petrify duration. It's actually not a bad thing to have, to be honest, because it just means that your enemies are going to stay stunned longer. You're going to get those bonuses longer where you're getting increased crit strike damage. But technically, you just want to boost up your willpower a lot because your willpower scales with this build really well. So you're getting a lot of damage and a lot of other benefits from putting more into your willpower. And then on top of that, this is where you're going to be getting your armor. So you want to make sure you have armor on the pants, and then you want your tempering to be total armor as well. And the aspect is going to be symbiotic. and that's super important. Keep that in mind. Wild Heart Hunger, next one up. This one, you want to do exactly what I have done, but you want to have better shape-shifting attack speed roll. You ideally want that to be higher. I just haven't been able to farm a better pair, and I hit all 3 of my masterworkings for once on something that has a min roll on what I'm trying to hit my masterworkings on.
Why shouldn't you put a toaster in a bathtub full of water? Because your toast would get soggy.
So it's great. It's great for us, but hey, here we are. Like I said, all these class-specific uniques are really important for this build. But yeah, you want to try to hit shape-shifting attack speed with all 3 masterworkings. Next, you're going to go to your weapon and preferably use a dagger, or I would say a sword. Those are the 2 that I kind of recommend for everything right now. But with this, you are going to try to hit all 3 on either crit strike damage or damage to crowd controlled. Some people say that there's like something happening with crowd control damage where it scales with a specific move set that you're using. I don't know where people have heard this from, and I haven't been able to find anything to verify it. And so typically I just go for crit strike damage, and since I already had GA on crit strike damage, that's what I went into. But also putting points into willpower, or putting masterworkings into willpower, is also nice because, like I said, it scales really well. And then you want your aspect on this to be the retaliation aspect, because that's going to help with your core skill damage and increase your fortify so you stay alive. Next, we go to Cairn Stone of the Aftershock, because Aftershock is the legendary aspect we're using on our totem. You want to have GAs on anything you can, but the main affixes you want to be focusing on are willpower, max life, and critical strike chance. And then you want to be, instead of damage to close, this is another item. I need to find a better totem. It's just, yeah, once again, another thing, because my tempers got screwed up and I hit damage to close enemies, which isn't awful, you know what I mean? But you want damage to crowd control, and you want to put all of your masterworking onto damage to crowd controlled enemies versus damage to close. But I got a max roll on damage to close, and I only have 1 temper left, so it's like I could just end up screwing the whole thing and get damage to distant or something. So I was like, we'll just keep it here. I have a perfect roll on chance for landside projectiles to cast twice, and a perfect roll on damage to close, and it's double GA. So I'm like, even though it could be better, it's still pretty freaking great. So I'm not mad about it, and it's kicking ass. So next, your unique ring, you're going to want Earthbreaker. Ideally, you want to hit all 3 masterworking onto Earth attack speed, and that's obviously where you want your GA too. But having the GA on Landslide also isn't bad. Those are the 2 that you would really like want to focus on, I would say, is Landslide, like ranks to Landslide, or Earth attack speed. But try to hit all your GA or all your masterworkings on Earth attack speed. Next, you have the Ring of the Starless Skies. This one, you're going to want to hit all of your masterworkings on attack speed as well, because the interesting thing about the Druid that I didn't know early on is each version of attack speed. So you have your regular attack speed, and it has a cap of 100. Then you have your Earth skill attack speed, and then you have your shape-shifting attack speed, then you have your Storm skill attack speed. Each one has a cap of 100. So even if you can potentially, like if you get all 3 rolls on attack speed on your Andes, and all 3 rolls on all 3 masterworks on attack speed on your Starless Skies, you'll be close to 100%, but you'll still get those boosted attack speed in the other categories. So it's really nice, actually. Next, on your neck, you're going to want the legendary aspect of natural balance, and this is one of the hardest pieces to get in for the entire Druid. It's similar to the Rogue, where you want ideally to have 3 different passives, and the passives that you really want to focus on, if you can only have 2, you want Envenom and Quick Shift. So you want to find a GA to Envenom ideally, and you want to put all your masterworking. You want like 2 masterworking to go into Envenom and 1 into Quick Shift. Like you want it kind of flipped the way that I have it. But I got the GA on Quick Shift, and I had a low roll on Envenom. But Nature's Reach is also a really good damage passive. Like, so if you can get Nature's Reach as well. Like if you see what I have here, this is kind of ideal. The only thing that I would say you want differently is you want Envenom to either be a GA or the max roll. And then, yeah, like I said, natural balance and do movement speed and crit strike damage are the two that you're going to want to temper onto here. And so that is everything for the gear. Is there anything else that I missed? I don't think so. I'll have more of the gameplay of my Druid playing in the background. Like I said, this is a really fun build. If you are just like looking for something new to try before the new season starts, this is the most fun I've had playing a build in a long time. I love my Frozen Orb Stork. But my Frozen Orb Stork is also like, that's my girl, you know? I play with her. Oh, whoa, pause. What the? Never mind. I use that build and that class a lot, and I used it all last season. And so playing this season, it didn't feel like it was like this new, like it had more damage and it was cool to kind of mess around with some of the things. But this build is the first like new build that I got my hands on, and Druid of all classes, you know what I mean? Like it's actually, the changes that they made have been pretty decent for the Druid. So I really enjoyed this build. I think you guys will enjoy it too if you try it out. Let me know if you have any questions or comments down in the comments below. Let me know if there's any specific builds you want me to build to try to like before the season, because I'm trying to get as many as I can done. Next we have Barb. So if you have like a Barb rec for like what build you want to see me play or want me to build out, then let me know, because that's my next class that I have to tackle. Or the Necro. I have a Blood Surge one I've been messing around with, but it's not my favorite, I will say. So yeah, let me know. Thank you guys so much. I will see you on the next one. Peace.